Hey, what's up? This is JM, host of the Celebrity Grill podcast on iTunes, and you're listening to the Barbecue Central Radio Network. All barbecue and grilling, all the time.
From my heart and from my hand, why don't people understand my intention?
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the Charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
But listen, Lavernius, shake a face.
I'm shaking like a dog shitting peach seeds.
You could use it to fight off creeping marauders looking to take your steaks off your grills.
I just like being anywhere with Junior, Senior, and Diva.
Sounds like a whole other type of movie.
Wow. Yeah, really. Keep it hot, keep it clean, keep it lubricated.
We have top men working on it right now. Ooh, top men.
Welcome to the second hour, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. This is the Barbecue Central Radio Show, brought to you by the Barbecue Central Radio Network's website, thebbqcentralshow.com. Sponsored by BarbecueClass.com, Barbecue Guru, D-Dog's Barbecue Rub, The Ribbolator. People just, Fred's Music and Barbecue, for crying out loud. The experts in the industry lining up to sponsor the show, and I certainly appreciate each and every one of them for actually believing in the show. So thank you, sponsors, and I ask that you as Centralites go ahead and give them first consideration when you're looking to buy whatever it is. If they provide something that you might be looking for, then please give a try. You can find them. They're listed right at the top of the archives page on the Barbecue Central Show website. So go ahead and give them a look if you're looking for something that they might be able to provide for you. There you go. Again, if you missed the first hour, you missed Joe Beelan from Tippecanoe Barbecue Crew talking about the Jack Daniels, their first time heading down, what they're going to be looking to do and accomplish while they're down there aside from winning. Game plans that they've put together in order to not get into any pitfalls that some of the other more experienced teams said that they have run into and have become cagey, savvy. That's what it is. Savage veterans. Arr. Savvy veterans. And I believe we actually had, well, I don't believe we did. I mean, we had Rod Gray and Chris Hart on last week telling us about pitfalls as well. So that being said, let's go ahead and race over to the hotline. Joined once again. We talked to them last week, but we'll bring them up again here really quick. It's Phil Costanzo of WiredBBQ.com. Phil, how are you tonight?
Doing good, Greg. How you doing?
Doing excellent, Phil. Where are we finding you this fine eve?
We're about 30 miles outside of Columbia, Missouri, on our way down to Lynchburg, Tennessee.
All right, now for the people that might not have heard the show last week, or perhaps they haven't gotten a chance to listen to the archive show, tell us a little bit about the background of WiredBBQ.com and what you're looking to accomplish this weekend.
WiredBarbecue.com is looking to bring the fun and enjoyment of barbecuing to a wider audience. We're also looking to bring it to a live audience for people who really enjoy it and just can't make it sometimes. We set up mobile cameras so we can go down to these events and really catch the flavor and excitement that is usually missed in the video segments, but is still there and still a lot of people looking for it.
Now, of course, people are always fascinated with how technology is working. So how it is actually set up for you guys?
Well, we're running off of air cards, and currently we're using a free upstream service that allows us to stream up the video through the air cards into our website, and that's really about the gist of it. We're hoping at this point that we're going to have a good enough signal down here in Lynchburg to be able to bring the video through clear without too much choppiness in the quality.
Now, what are you looking to actually get covered down there? Obviously, there's some type of game plan, whether it be getting some of the parade or teams that you've specifically targeted in order to get some of that live action for the people that can't make it down there. What's the vision for this particular event?
Well, we've already lined up interviews with the featured judge, Paul Kirk, the 2010 American Royal winner, Mike Davis, and we're also looking to talk with Rod Gray of Pellet Envy. Tomorrow's Thursday, I'm sorry. Friday, we will be live at 11 a.m. with the I Know Jack contest, which is, I understand, it's sort of a Iron Chef event where the teams won't know who's going to be there until that morning. And we're really looking forward to covering that.
Now, what are the hours of actual live streaming over the course of Friday and Saturday? When will you be on air for sure, and is there a definitive shutoff point during those days?
We will be on air 10 a.m. Friday morning, and we will run until the events for Friday have ended, which I believe is set for 5 p.m. when they go to the party on the hill. We're not sure if we'll have access to that or not yet. If we do, we are going to try and webcast some of that as well. And we will be back on here at 10 a.m. Saturday, and that will go live through the award ceremony later Saturday evening.
All right, so we got 10 o'clock a.m. on Friday, running until possibly 5 o'clock in the evening that Friday, and then Saturday back at it again, 10 a.m. Through the award ceremony. So, we've heard in the past that award ceremony is stretched out quite a bit. It sounds like they've tightened it up a little bit more. Are you guys sponsored at all getting out there, or is this all on your own dime just because this is something you want to do?
Right now, it is something that we really want to do. We think there's a lot of people out there who enjoy this, and we are doing it all on our own dime, with the exception of Tom Emery, who has been a great supporter of us, and he has come forward and been a sponsor of the show for the Jack Daniels. And we are hoping that once people see the quality of the program, that we'll be able to follow that up with more people.
All right, this is Phil Costanzo. Again, the website, if you want to tune in live for Jack Daniels World Championship Barbecue Cook-Off coverage live via the webcast, it's wiredbbq.com. And again, it'll start Friday at 10 a.m., go until about 5, and then Saturday start again at 10 a.m. and go through the awards ceremony. Phil, I hope that you guys have all the coverage that you need for those air cards, because I'm definitely going to be one that's tuning in starting at 10 o'clock Friday. Best of luck, and hopefully we can get a recap from you as well.
Sounds great. I really appreciate it, Greg. And George Costanzo says hi, by the way.
All right. Thanks, Phil. Thanks for coming on tonight. I knew it. I knew George Costanzo would. I knew they were related. God, I'm smart. Very smart. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope I have my you can't see me right now because my computer would be crashing if I was actually running video. One day I'm going to upgrade this bad boy rig with better than a single processor and 2.8 gigahertz Willie. And I will stream video of me doing the show too, because that's what all like the successful talk radio shows do now. See Mike and Mike in the morning. You can watch them on ESPN too. It's a radio show, but it's on television. Howard Stern's got his on demand. That ugly guy Imus is seen on as well. I mean, it's got to be TV for radio. And I have movie star good looks, by the way. So, what? I don't?
Big stuff out of here.
Damn it. Can't even get over on myself. So I hope, with fingers crossed, that they get all of the coverage that they need. Air cards are tricky, man. No doubt about it. I would be the first one down there to do a radio show remote. I wanted to be there. I wanted to be in American Royal 2 weeks ago. And aside from the collegiate class schedule not allowing, I couldn't get any guarantees that I would have access to hard wire internet. And that's the only way that this show is going to go on the road, if I can get a guarantee that I have access to hard wire. I don't have to be in the thick of things. People will come to me and do interviews. I will chase people during the day, and I will have a live show for like 3 hours during the course of an event, day to day. Maybe, just like the regular talk shows do. Do it the same show, but I could do it for 3 hours at an event on a Saturday and a Sunday or whatever the case would be. But I got to have the hard wire Ethernet. If I don't have the hard wire, I can't live with the fact that my signal could get cut off. And that's just me. That's my, what do you call that? Obsessive, compulsive, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. But I want to make sure that I'm delivering a consistent, solid stream for the listeners. And if I can't get that guarantee, then quite frankly, I will wait until either the internet connections get better or I get a solid, yes, we will give you hardwire internet, and that's the way it's going to be. So there you go. Again, that is Phil Costanzo. I believe his brother's Tony as well. Tony Costanzo. And they are wiredbbq.com. wiredbbq.com. And that is the website that you're going to want to check out if you want to see live streaming coverage of the Jack Daniel's World Championship Barbecue Cook-Off. wiredbbq.com. And again, that'll start Friday at 10 a.m. That's this Friday at 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. on Friday. And then it'll start again at 10 a.m. on Saturday and run through the awards and various interviews in between. wiredbbq.com. All right, as this show states, it is an outdoor, live fire barbecue and grilling program. Sometimes we get away from the live fire aspect a bit, so I wanted to circle the proverbial wagons for a little while and try and get back to the flame, and my next guest has an awesome product, and I wanted to have him on to talk a bit about it. So we'll go ahead and race back over to the hotline and grab the president and founder of the Cowboy Cauldron Company, Mike Bertelson, joining us. Mike, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic, Mike. Thanks for asking. Mike, before we get into the product itself and how this all comes about, for the people that don't know you or maybe they haven't been to the website yet, how about a little background about yourself professionally and kind of where you've been down the road?
Well, to my parents' horror and dismay, I grew up to become a lawyer and then was a lobbyist in Washington, D.C.
Evil.
Yeah. Wake up one day and realize, hey, that's what I do for a living. But I was entertaining a lot and also was lucky enough to be living on the grounds at Mount Vernon, Virginia, which is the historic home of George Washington. And as it turned out, the bow hunting for white-tailed deer was really good. So needing to do a lot of entertaining and needing to cook a lot of meat and being just a total firebug, I decided to make something that would be beautiful and functional that I could entertain, very fancy elected official type parties around, or basically just sit around with a cold beer and my buddies. And that's how the Cowboy Cauldron was born.
So it's just basically out of trying to provide a unit for people to kind of collect around and socialize in front of.
Basically, yeah. My I guess requirements, as I was trying to figure it out, it had to be beautiful. It had to be functional. In other words, it had to hold a really big fire and keep people warm. It had to be a really good cooking device, and it had to be portable so I could move it around from place to place.
So as somebody that has a background, in lawyering and lobbying, were you an outside enthusiast of live fire cooking and of fire in general, and did you have some type of artisan background as well to come up with all this?
Well, I grew up in an orchard in northern Utah, and so I spent all my early years were hunting and fishing and sitting around a campfire and poking sticks into said campfire, and I found that I really missed that when I was back east. I mean, the forests back there are spectacular, as most of your audience already knows, but when you come from a tiny little town in northern Utah and head for the East Coast, you figure you're headed for the concrete jungle. And when I got there and discovered that everything I love to do was right there handy, I just had to start getting right back into what I love to do.
So when did you decide to officially start on this project and potentially bring it to a market?
So it's kind of funny. I'd moved from D.C. back to Utah, and all my friends were beating me up saying, "Oh, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. You got to make us one." And I said, "No, get your own. They're really hard to make." And finally, two guys came up to me and said, "Look, we'll give you cash up front, but we really want you to make us one." So I did, and they were thrilled. And a week later, I got a call from New York City, a friend of a friend, and he says, "Hey, are you the Cauldron guy?" And I said to myself, "Well, Yeah, sure, why not? And he says, well, then I got to have one. I got to have one in New York by Christmas. This was like the 15th of December, and I said, no way, you're not getting one. But we got him one by New Year's, and it's just been like that ever since. I just cannot keep up with demand. People are just pounding on my door for them.
Mike Bertelsen is the president and founder of the Cowboy Cauldron Company, and if you haven't seen what we're talking about here, go ahead and punch up your web browser, go to cowboycauldron.com so you can see what we're talking about here. Mike, can you kind of paint us a picture of what the unit actually looks like, how it's made, what it's made out of, all that good stuff?
Sure. If you think about it, conceptually, it's sort of functional sculpture. It's a big perfectly hemispheric bowl that has a bail like a bucket. It's suspended by that bail from a tripod like an old-style cauldron. Only the fundamental difference is that the fire goes inside the basin instead of underneath it. They're built of very, very heavy-gauge steel. The smallest unit, which is a 30-inch diameter, is 70 pounds of steel. The largest unit at 42 inches is 235 pounds of steel. Despite that weight and mass, they're very light looking, and that the heat gets into that heavy steel and radiates out into a really large circle. So it's very, very nice to entertain around. It really extends your fire watching and poking and cooking around season. And that's sort of, I think, what draws people to them, the fact that they're beautiful and the fact that they're really warm.
Is it something that you can, like if I wanted to buy one tomorrow and I get it delivered to my house here in Cleveland, is it something I can just stick out in the backyard, or do you suggest it go someplace in particular for safety reasons, for aesthetic reasons, or anything like that?
Well, I'd suggest you hide it, for the first few weeks, because otherwise you're going to be out of beer. Everybody in the neighborhood is going to come around and, try to spend some time around it. But most people put them in their backyards. I mean, they go next to pools. They go in all kinds of places. It shocks me. They go in front yards everywhere. Almost everyone who owns one puts it in their front yard during the Halloween, and either throws a big fire in it for everybody to come hang around, or in the alternative, a couple people told me they fill them up completely with water and toss in a 10-pound hunk of dry ice. And it's a really scary-looking cauldron.
No doubt about it. Mike Bertelsen is our guest. Mike, when did you, I guess, technically officially go into business? Was it the guy that called you and said that he needed one by Christmas, or was it a little bit after that?
Well, it's funny. That's a great question, Greg. The demand was so much that I figured, well, I better get a patent counsel involved, and I better get my ducks in a row if I'm really going to try to make these. And so, the first person I was able to show it to after my patent counsel gave me the thumbs up was just a year ago, and it was Michael Chiarello, who is he's the celebrity chef in Napa Valley, California, and he loved it and put it on the cover of his spring catalog this spring, and that's really when it all happened.
Does he have one?
Oh yeah, he's got one.
Yeah, I love Michael Chiarello. Did he get aced off of the Food Network at some point? I love watching his shows. He's a great guy.
I honestly don't know. He's on at a time that's really inconvenient for me to watch, and then they switched Anthony Bourdain, and I've just decided that those television people are making my life too difficult.
They're worse than those lawyers and those lobbyists.
Oh my God! Careful now, they're not that bad.
Oh, right, exactly. We're talking with Mike Bertelsen. Again, cowboycauldron.com is the website if you want to check it out. So you went ahead and kind of briefly mentioned that you had some different models, but what are we talking about geometric-wise? And you can go ahead and mention the weights again.
Oh, sure. There's the small one is 30-inch diameter, as I think I'd mentioned. It's about 72 inches tall and weighs around 70 pounds. The medium-sized one, 36 inches in diameter, weighs about 135 pounds. And the largest one is 42 inches in diameter, a little over 230 pounds. They all have basically a 72-inch footprint, but that's sort of... if you measured off 72 inches on your patio, and oh my God, that thing is huge, it'll never fit. really most of that space is negative space. It's empty space. But the poles hit 72 inches apart from one another. And I can't stress enough, the customers that buy these things, some of them turn into real disciples. And honestly, it's been tremendously satisfying for me to have people not only first come up and say, wow, that thing is so cool, I'd like to buy that thing from you. I mean, it's a lot more satisfying than getting the amendment passed, if you might, imagine.
Right.
But then they have so much fun with them. I have one guy who takes his cauldron every single weekend somewhere on the East Coast. He's paddled it up the Potomac River in a canoe. He's taken it down to Tennessee. He's taken it in basically everywhere he goes. His name is Dennis Powell. Everybody knows him as Chef Denny. He's a fabulous cook. Tennessee hill country kid whose grandmother was a hog butcher. And the guy is magic with hog. Although if he hears this, I'm going to have to do something, because I've been telling him he couldn't cook his way out of a shoebox for 20 years. But people take him everywhere. They take him skiing. They take him to the beach, and a lot of your audience are fabulous cooks, and they've all got their particular tools. I mean, there's the guys who bring in stuff that they tow in behind trucks, and there are guys with power smokers, and there are guys with electric smokers, and all of them are great, and all of them do different things really, really well. But a cauldron does a whole lot of things really well, including grace an outdoor room, or just goes with you basically anywhere you want to go.
Now, if I order one, how does this actually show up to my house? Is it freighted in by tractor trailer? Does it come UPS? And how does it show up at my house assembly-wise? What do I need to do?
Well, it shows up. FedEx will bring it on a liftgate truck, and it'll show up on a pallet. Once it comes off of the truck, you just pop a couple of bands, and you can take the three legs, slide into a cap sleeve, and the whole thing assembles. Once you've done it the first time, you can assemble the entire thing in, I'm going to say honestly, under 45 seconds. So it's pretty simple. If you order the big one, it's best to have a buddy waiting for the truck with you. But the FedEx service that I've got arranged they call ahead, so you can schedule an appointment, and given that it is FedEx, they actually will show up when they tell you they're going to, and it's really sweet. I've never had any problems at all with that sort of delivery issue.
Now, what are the
one thing?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say one thing, not to put too fine a point on it, but if any of your listeners really would like one soon, the demand has really been kind of crushing, and I'm inventoried ahead of what I think is going to get me through Christmas. But if somebody wants to give one as a gift, I really hate to not have something there on Christmas morning or birthday morning or whatever it is. So I just urge anybody to move on it if it's something they want to do.
All right, so what are we looking at price point-wise for the various models that you have available?
Small, $12.95. I'm sorry. The medium is $19.95, and the large is $29.95.
And then is there shipping included in that, or is that additional?
It's additional, and it depends on which size it is and where you are located. So for me to ship a large one to Maine is a lot more expensive than shipping a small one to, say, Southern California. But the shipping price is really, it surprises me, honestly, how inexpensive it is. A small one can go to California for under $200, and a big one can go to Maine for plus or minus $400.
Now, I think it's important to point out here, and we're talking with Mike Bertelsen from Cowboy Cauldron Company, these aren't just fire pits. You can also cook on these, as we had mentioned there before. What accessories do you offer in order to make these things cookers as well?
Oh, that's another great question, Greg. The thing that I'm most proud of, I think, is the grill top itself. I spent 4 or 5 design iterations with some industrial engineers and a restaurant supply manufacturing company in Delaware. But they're beautiful. They're trussed underneath. They'll take an unbelievable amount of weight. They'll never burn. They'll never sag. They'll never rust. And they fold to give you really easy access to coals underneath. There's a rotisserie kit that I'm also really proud of. It's designed to work without electricity. so you can cook anywhere you want to go. And they're solid stainless steel. They're just fantastic. I love them. They also have some local blacksmiths here in town who hand forge a series of S-hooks and hand-wrought chain and other things for suspending Dutch ovens and coffee pots and other things. Dutch oven cooking is real big out here in the Intermountain West. And so I've tried to make a set of attachments and accessories that ease that process. And I think we've done a really good job at it. I sell a ton of them, and everybody seems to be really happy. And besides that, it also makes me happy if you get on the website and check them out. They're beautiful pieces of hand-wrought art. I mean, the guys heat them up over coal just like they used to with bellows and feed them into shape with hammers. And it's really neat to be able to offer those to people who appreciate them.
Yeah, I've seen all of the pictures that you have on your website, from the cauldrons to the grill grates and the other accessory items that you just mentioned, and they really are works of art, so I completely agree with you on that point. So what is the life expectancy of a cauldron unit itself? Plus or minus, like 800 or 900 years?
I would say plus or minus 3 generations.
So you got some time. There's a good ROI on that thing.
Yeah, I was going to say, for somebody who balks and says, oh, my God, $1,200 for a grill, honestly, your great-grandchildren will be fighting over it, and by the time you've spent 10 or 15 or 20 or 30 years around it, you'll have long forgotten how much it cost. And one of the things that a buddy of mine told me, he says, oh, my God, Bertelsen, I ruled the neighborhood with this thing for so much less than a new Mercedes would have cost me.
Yeah, that's a monthly payment for some Mercedes.
Yeah, right. I thought that was pretty funny.
Now, how do you go about buying a unit? Is it strictly now through cowboycauldron.com, or are you pulling through any type of distribution?
Well, another really interesting question. Obviously, you can get them through Napa Style, the catalog. Orvis has asked me to carry it, and I think that we're probably going to do a contract in the spring, but we're waiting to, I think, put some of the final details together on that. The website obviously is a great place to pick them up, and then I've been approached by a couple of different people in the Western, the Pacific time zone, and somebody else in the Eastern time zone to become distributors, and I'm trying to figure out if that's a good idea or not. But they become increasingly easy to get as I get better at getting them made. They are, because of the tooling and the handwork that goes into them, getting to the point where I could really make them available to the public, to more than just friends of friends, has taken quite a while, but we're finally there, and I'm really happy about that. How
many people are involved in making it? I mean, is it just you, or do you have a group of other people that you're employing right now?
Well, I've assiduously tried to avoid having any employees or owning any of the tools. And some of the tools are the size of my house. But there are 5 different companies that all contribute in one way or another to the finished product.
Now, what term vision for the company, Mike? Aside from world domination, do you plan to expand the product line at some point, or are you just happy with the cauldrons for now?
You know what, Greg? I love that question, and I'd honestly like some feedback if your listeners have any thoughts on this. But I told Costco no, I was not going to give it to them about 2 weeks ago, just because I just couldn't see. I couldn't see doing it right and keeping the quality where it really needs to be to make this the sort of beautiful heirloom product that it is. And so, maybe some people would say, Bertelsen, you're an idiot. Call those people back and tell Costco you'll have truckloads of them delivered next week. But if there's anybody else out there who thinks it was a good idea to try to hold on and make a really high quality product, a few at a time here in the U.S., I'd appreciate the kudos.
Well, I mean, I have to imagine, Mike, that has to be really, as you're leading up to continuing to grow the product and get the word of mouth out there, it seems to be doing very well, and you seem to be handling just as much as you possibly can. But to be approached by Costco to potentially bring that on, a lot of people do what you do in hopes that they get that call from Costco Were you struggling at all with deciding to go with them, or did you know specifically that for sure you weren't going to even bother going down that path?
No, it was a really tough decision. I mean, it's Costco. Christ, they got great cheese and all kinds of good stuff in there. But at the same juncture, if there are lots and lots of people who can do things, there are lots of lobbyists out there, right? But there's only one Cowboy Cauldron. There's only one thing that's this beautiful and functional and unique. And I thought for a long time before I decided before we go to mass distribution, I want to make sure at a minimum that the quality never goes down. So and honestly, when I called them and said, "Hey guys, thanks but no thanks, maybe we could do it later, but I'm not ready to go this far this fast," they were pretty shocked, but they were really gracious and said, "Wow, well, thanks for telling us the truth." And I guess that's one other thing that I really, really enjoy about doing business is I get to talk to people and make people happy.
Mike Bertelson is the founder and president of the Cowboy Cauldron Company. And again, the website, if you want to check it out, cowboycauldron.com. I have to imagine anybody that's going to look at this thing is going to be able to picture it in a multitude of different venues and environments that it would work spectacularly well in. Mike, I think you have a great product in your hands already, and I think you know that too. And evidently Costco knows that as well. So thanks so much for coming on tonight and sharing the details with us and talking about it.
Greg, that's fantastic. And if anybody from the show or from your listening audience wants to or tells me, "Hey, I heard about you on Greg Rempe's show," I'll be happy to make them a special barbecue radio deal. All
right, Mike. Well, Central Lights love a deal, so hopefully we can push some traffic your way and we can turn some sales out of it. But again, thanks for coming on tonight. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Love your show.
All right, Mike, thanks. There he is, Mike Bertelson. Yeah. Look, you got to go check this thing out, man. It's so sweet. We are fire people by nature. Me and you, the Centralites. Loving fire. All things that flame. Coming to a theater near you. No. I mean, we're just inherently pyromaniacs. Controlled, well-seasoned. No pun intended with the seasoned fire. Whoa! What was that, engineer? I don't know. That was my engineer voice. We love fire. We love the live fire thing. Whether we're burning... Look, I have a $48 Target fire pit in my backyard that I think I'm going to have to go buy a new one during closeout next week because I've almost burnt through that, tin thing that holds the fire. It's a piece of crap, but I got it on sale because I wanted to see if I would actually use a fire pit. And of course, I'm a pyromaniac, and I use it all the time. And the neighbors like to hike the fence and come on over, and as Mike said, drank my beer, and more annoyingly, drank my liquor.
Get that big stuff.
If you're going to come enjoy my fire, bring your own beer and your own liquor, mother effers. Anyway, the only thing that could be better, and especially now, man, it's starting to get down into the mid-40s at night. It's going to get colder before it gets warmer again around here. To blast that thing up with huge amounts of wood and fired up, and as Mike said, get that steel all warmed up and start having it radiate around. Plus, it hangs up off the ground, so you can... I don't know about you, but if I can get my feet under a fire, which is very hard to do in a lot of cases... But that's what I used to do with my offset close when I was running sticks in that thing, and it would get really hot underneath the firebox. I just sit by the firebox, and that thing would kick out heat like a mother. And I stick my feet underneath the firebox, warm my piggies right up. So I can totally see where the Cowboy Cauldron would be doing very well in a number of situations. And, yeah, the ticket is a little steep when you look at it. You get a little sticker shock. But if you want the deal, go ahead, hook up with Mike. cowboycauldron.com. You can contact him through there. You can watch the video on how it's made and what these things look like and all the other spectacular pictures. And then make your deal with Mike. And do it now because he's going to run out by the time it's Christmas, and then you're going to think you want the deal, and then it's going to be too late, and it sucks to be you. And that's too bad. So, Rod Gray, do you have anything else to add to that? Hello? Rod, do you have anything to add to that? Oh, come on. Son of... Damn it. Why won't this thing play? Well, that's ridiculous. It was the best soundbite ever. It was him going, nothing. All right. Well, that brought the show to a screeching halt. CowboyCauldron.com. Thanks again to Mike Bertelson for coming on the show. And that's it. We're donezo. Redunzio. Second hour guest, Phil Costanzo. George Costanza says, yeah, baby. Also, Mike Bertelson of the Cowboy Cauldron Company. Again, the website, cowboycauldron.com. Hook up with Mike to get your special Barbecue Central radio show discount. Discount. Yeah. Gotta love the discount. Let me know if you get one. I want to see what you think about it. Love it. Love to see pictures of it. Mike would love to see pictures of it. Also, thanks to my first hour guest, Joe Beeland, Tippecanoe Barbecue Crew, going to be taking part in the Jack Daniels Barbecue Cook-Off this coming weekend. Also, Ted Reeder crushed it with another epic performance. TedReeder.com is his website. Go back and listen to the archives. He's going to teach you how to have sex. We'll see you back here next Wednesday with the winner of the Jack Daniels Barbecue Championship Cook-Off. And until then, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.